You know, there are many weapons that can be used in MMA. Some are more technical and others are not. Some are spectacular while others go unnoticed. But what is the most brutal and underrated weapon in MMA? The answer to this question may surprise you, but the truth is that if you don't believe me, I invite you to watch this video until the end, and I promise you'll agree with me. It's about those kicks that little by little take away your strength, your balance, and your will to fight. Yes, we're talking about leg kicks. They may not look like much, but they're the most brutal weapon in all of combat sports, and I'm going to tell you why. Many people think that leg kicks are only used as a way to annoy the opponent or to gain distance. But nothing could be further from the truth, because leg kicks are capable of doing much more than that. They can be devastating, ending fights in the most unexpected way possible. And the reason for this is very simple. This weapon doesn't just hurt, it immobilizes you. It slowly takes away your ability to stand, to move, to walk, to fight back, to defend yourself, to run, to jump, to do anything. Because the most painful thing is not being able to do anything and feeling that every time you try to react, you pay for it. This is an investment that is painful, yes, but more than that, it accumulates and compounds. It is not something immediate, but rather something that happens over time. And when the pain is not immediate, sometimes it is underestimated. However, the fact that the accumulation of pain is perceived slowly does not make it any less dangerous. On the contrary, because it allows you to sneak up on your prey without them realizing what's happening, till suddenly they can no longer take another step and everything ends. When I say everything, I mean everything. Because when the legs go, everything else follows. Arms, torso, head, eyes, mouth, everything. You have to keep in mind that there is nothing more important in our body than our legs. Why? Very simple. Because if we lose the use of our legs, we lose the use of our arms. Because without legs, we cannot use our arms, cannot hold them up or use them correctly. In addition, if we lose the use of our legs, we lose our balance and fall to the ground, which means that we also lose our head, as if we lose our balance, our head will follow the same path as our hips. That is why leg kicks are so dangerous, because they slowly but surely immobilize you. They do not cause knockout, but rather a gradual loss of mobility that makes you feel weaker and weaker until you can no longer stand on your feet. The most incredible thing is that leg kicks can be distinguished into two different types of attacks. Those aimed at the thigh and those aimed at the knee, and both are equally effective. Now, attacks on the knee are very powerful and can be devastating, but they require a lot of technique, because if they're not well placed, they won't be as effective. On the other hand, attacks on the thigh are more basic but no less effective. In fact, I would say that they re even more effective than attacks on the knee, because they re easier to execute. But regardless of where you kick, the result is always the same. See how your opponent little by little loses their mobility and becomes weaker and weaker until they fall to the ground completely defeated. However, there's something very important to keep in mind about leg kicks, and that they should not be seen as a separate weapon from the rest of the arsenal, but rather as an addition to punches, elbows, knees, and any other type of attack. In other words, leg kicks should be used in combination with other attacks, not as the main weapon. And one of the best examples of this is Israel Adesanya, who is a master of using leg kicks in combination with his punches. This makes him even more dangerous, because his opponents never know what to expect. There's a common misconception that leg kicks are a defensive tactic used to keep opponents at bay. While it's true that leg kicks can be used to create distance, it's not their main purpose. Leg kicks are primarily an offensive weapon designed to inflict damage and break down an opponent's defenses. When executed properly, leg kicks can be incredibly painful and debilitating, causing an opponent to lose their balance, making it easier for Adesanya to follow up with a flurry of punches. In fact, leg kicks are such an integral part of Adesanya's fighting style that he often uses them to set up his signature spinning attacks. By targeting an opponent's legs, Adesanya can open them up and create a larger target for his spectacular kicks. In addition to their physical effects, leg kicks also have a psychological component. When an opponent is constantly being kicked in the legs, they become hesitant and afraid to move forward. This creates a sense of frustration and makes it difficult for them to close the distance and engage in a striking battle. Adesanya is also particularly adept at using leg kicks to punish opponents who try to close the distance and grapple with him, by keeping his opponents at bay with a barrage of leg kicks. Adesanya is able to maintain his dominant striking position and prevent his opponents from taking the fight to the ground where he may be at a disadvantage. In conclusion, leg kicks are a highly effective and versatile weapon in MMA. They can be used for offense, defense, and to set up other attacks. When executed properly, leg kicks can be incredibly painful and debilitating, causing an opponent to lose their balance and making it easier to follow up with a flurry of punches. Moreover, leg kicks also have a psychological component that can frustrate opponents and make it difficult for them to close the distance and engage in a striking battle. Overall, leg kicks are an essential part of any well-rounded fighter's arsenal and can be a key factor in determining the outcome of a fight. But wait, it gets better, because leg kicks can also be used to finish a fight. That's right. There have been many occasions when a fighter has thought they had everything under control, only to be surprised by a powerful leg kick that knocks them out. These types of knockouts are becoming more and more common in MMA, and it's easy to understand why. The human leg is a very powerful weapon, and when hit with a strong kick, it can send even the toughest fighters to the canvas. Plus, leg kicks are a great way to keep your opponent at bay and create distance. This can be especially useful if you're refacing an opponent who's much bigger and stronger than you. By keeping your opponent at a distance, you can avoid getting overwhelmed and allow yourself to pick your shots. In addition, leg kicks can be used to set up other attacks. For example, you can kick your opponent's S-leg to create some space and then follow up with a powerful punch or kick to the body. This can be an effective way to catch your opponent off guard and inflict some serious damage. One of the advantages of leg kicks is that they are relatively easy to execute. Unlike some other techniques, leg kicks do not require a lot of technique or training to be effective. Even a beginner can learn to throw a decent leg kick with a little practice. Of course, like any other technique, leg kicks can be devastating when done correctly. With some practice and dedication, you can master the art of the leg kick and use it to finish fights like a pro. So if you're re-looking for a simple, yet effective way to add some power to your fighting arsenal, look no further than the humble leg kick. Just remember to practice, practice, and practice some more. And before you know it, you'll be chopping down trees with your leg kicks like a true master.